We have a lot to talk about, so let's get straight to the point. In this video, you can see Jungkook arriving at the airport. The interesting thing is that when he gets out of the car, although it's a very quick moment, you can tell someone else it was with him. You can't really see it, but that was enough to get the comments going. Some people say it was Taehyung who was with him. Of course, there's no definitive proof to confirm this, but it's not uncommon to think so. If you look at it carefully, we've seen Jungkook and Taehyung traveling together on many occasions, accompanying each other and sharing these kinds of moments. So the idea that it was Taehyung makes a lot of sense. Now, as always, not everyone was happy with that possibility. As soon as the video appeared, several different theories emerged. Some began to say that the one traveling with Jungkook was the favorite, others claimed it was a staff member. But those who have followed Jungkook and Taehyung for a while know that this explanation doesn't fit so well. Why? Because managers, when they travel with them, almost always sit in the front seats. Jungkook and Taehyung usually sit in the back, just the two of them, and we've seen this repeated in several situations. It's like their custom, a way of being together and calm. So, when analyzed in detail, the most logical thing is to think that Taehyung was indeed the one there. And there's something else that reinforces the idea. Many fans noticed a curious pattern. Every time Jungkook travels, Taehyung usually does a live show. This isn't the first time this happens. It happens so often that it no longer seems like a mere coincidence. On this occasion, while Jungkook was at the airport, Taehyung appeared live the day before, spending some time with everyone. He shared a bit of his day, spoke naturally, and showed that authentic side that everyone loves so much. It's like if he knew that at that very moment the attention was also on Jungkook, and somehow they connected. Returning to the video, although the recording doesn't clearly show who was in the car, the theory that it was Taehyung remains the most coherent. They've shown many times that they enjoy traveling together and feel comfortable doing so. It wouldn't be anything new, just another moment of many they've shared. What is clear is people's reaction. There are those who celebrate these coincidences and are moved by how Jungkook and Taehyung continue to maintain that obvious closeness. And there are also those who prefer to deny it, inventing other explanations. But if you connect the pieces, the conclusion is quite clear. The evidence isn't in a single image or a short video, but in the repeating pattern, trips together, the habit of sitting in the back of cars, Taehyung's live broadcasts at the same times Jungkook is traveling. It all adds up. And although some want to call it a coincidence, for many it doesn't seem so much like one anymore. Now let's move on to a detail that's been the subject of much discussion, those two tiny dots Jungkook has near his eye, which look like small indentations in the skin. Since they appeared, many people began to offer all kinds of theories. Some people thought he might have hurt himself, while others, a little more desperate, began to say that it was the favorite who did that to him while playing. This type of comment isn't new. There are always those who try to relate anything that happens to Jungkook to the favorite, even when it doesn't make sense. The truth is, that explanation isn't correct. Jungkook didn't hurt himself, and much less was it caused by someone else. The reality is quite simple. It's a new piercing he decided to get near his eye. It's a style that suits him very well, and if we compare it, it looks quite similar to the piercing he has in his ear. The idea that those dots were the result of an accident or a game is baseless. The truth is, Jungkook just wanted to try something new, and as always, he got everyone talking about his choice. Although this detail sparked debate, the important thing is to see how each time Jungkook appears, he continues to attract attention. This time, he appeared dressed entirely in Calvin Klein clothing, and as expected, his image made a huge impact. His outfits always manage to surprise, and it's not unusual for him to set a trend every time he appears. Although we haven't seen him with Taehyung yet, in recent videos, they've shared more moments together. This has allowed fans to notice how good they look side by side. Every time they appear in the same place, the contrast between them stands out, and it's clear how comfortable they are with each other. These are details that reinforce the connection that so many recognize between them. Therefore, for those who support Taehyung, these situations only add to the idea that their relationship is real. The coincidences, the shared moments, and the natural way they accompany each other ultimately show that these aren't just assumptions. The image of JUNGKOOK with his new piercing may be an isolated incident, but when we connect it with what we've seen of him and Taehyung recently, everything makes more sense. It's also important to point out something. There will always be people who try to speak ill of him or seek alternative explanations that don't fit with reality. It's common for certain comments to try to divert attention by saying that what happens to JUNGKOOK is always related to the favorite or that Taehyung isn't real. But the truth is that the evidence is there, visible in every detail. JUNGKOOK's new piercing is just a sample of his style and how he likes to innovate with his image. And although this time it wasn't directly related to Taehyung, we can't forget that in recent weeks the two have made more appearances together. On each of these occasions, they look close, calm, and very natural, something that for many fans is the best confirmation of what they feel. To all those who strive to criticize or deny the obvious, just remember this channel isn't focused on those comments. Here, the focus is on support, highlighting what's really happening, and acknowledging that Taekook is real. This is a truth that, while it may bother some, remains present and is increasingly supported by the facts. There's something about the relationship between Taehyung and JUNGKOOK that always catches our attention. It's not just what they say in interviews or in front of cameras, but what they do without even realizing it. When they're close, everything about them seems to transform. They touch each other without fear, they approach each other naturally, as if there were no barrier between them, and they look at each other with a sincerity that needs no explanation. It's not an isolated gesture, nor a one-off scene. The curious thing is that it's repeated constantly, at different times and places, as if it were already part of their way of living together. This repetition is what makes many fans see it not as a simple game or something prepared for a show. Because the way they interact seems too authentic and sincere to be part of a performance. Although on this specific occasion we didn't see JUNGKOOK accompanied by Taehyung, in recent videos they have been shown spending more time together. These moments, however brief, have served to make fans notice how good they look together. When they appear together, the contrast between them immediately stands out. Whether it's on stage, at an airport, or on a broadcast, what you sense is the comfort they feel being close. These details reinforce the idea of a special connection. Because it's not just about appearing together, but how they do it. Their gestures, their way of speaking, the glances they exchange, everything conveys a trust that isn't improvised. For many, what we see between Taehyung and JUNGKOOK transcends any superficial image, as they don't seem to be seeking to impress or attract attention. This is where the difference is made. When two people act, you can often sense the intention to do it perfectly, to show something to the audience. But when two people truly understand each other, they don't need to plan anything. That's precisely what happens with Taehyung and JUNGKOOK. They don't seek to be together in front of the cameras just to create a topic of conversation. They seek each other out because that's how their bond works. They're used to being close, to touching each other without fear, to exchanging glances with sincerity. And as all of this is repeated over and over again, it ultimately becomes clear that it's no coincidence. Rather, it's a way of being together that has become a part of them. That naturalness, which cannot be faked, is what makes Taehyung feel so real to those who observe them. If we review different moments they've been together, the same pattern is evident. A gesture that seems trivial to anyone, like arranging their hair or touching the other's shoulder, takes on another meaning because they do it frequently and without worrying about hiding it. This consistency is what shows that these aren't planned actions, but habits that develop due to the closeness they share. When JUNGKOOK and TAEHYUNG are in the same space, you can sense that the atmosphere changes. They don't need to say anything to convey what's between them. The way they look at each other speaks louder than any words. Fans have pointed this out on several occasions. They understand each other with just a glance, as if they had a language of their own. And that's not something that can be invented or repeated out of obligation, it comes naturally. That's why, every time they appear together, the spotlight returns to them. No matter how much some try to downplay it, the facts are there. Time and again, their gestures and their way of living together end up reinforcing the idea that there's something deeper between them. It's a bond that isn't built for the public, but rather maintains itself in their daily lives.